What were the judges like? Did you get much to do with Simon and
I did afterwards.
Amanda?
So I was actually, after I won the show, I was signed to Psycho, his record label, just because they saw the impact that I'd had on people. They seen, like, I used to get thousands of, like, teenage girls camping outside my house, following me around. Like, it was...
Must have been a nightmare. Didn't sound too bad.
It was, do you know what, you say that, but there were times where they'd camp outside the house and we used to get letters from the council, like, kicking us out, loud music, neighbours complaining, things like that. And it wasn't actually a nightmare them doing it. Of course, it was like, it's like grateful for it all. Of course it was. But they used to break the windows just with like messages wrapped around the brick with all sorts attached to stones and like stuff coming through, like all sorts. Mental.
Well, you said about lasses camping outside your house. You said that someone had a tattoo of you, didn't you, a fella?
Oh, we had a few of them. We used to get a lot of people that used to like come to shows and stuff, and you'd get the odd person that'd say, "Can you sign me here? I'm going to get it tattooed." And I always find it like that a bit mental, like, because it's forever, innit?
Yeah.
And then a message came through on Facebook from this bloke, and I won't mention his name, but he said, "Look, I'm thinking of getting a tattoo." He was like, and I was like, "Oh, usually I don't reply. I just be like the comment and just say, great, blah 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 blah." But I'd said, "Oh, I was intrigued," and I was like, "Oh, great, mate, like awesome." I was like, "You have to let me know when you've had it done." Literally 3 days later, he messages me back, "I've had the tattoo done. Oh, I love it. It's absolutely amazing." And it was a portrait of me face, this big, like literally real size face, just on his thigh, right, just sort of next to his crotch area.
He'll have been with them girls outside your house, just one middle-aged bloke in the middle of a young teenager.
Well, those were scarier times for that. But yeah, he had me on one side and he had Tom Daly's face on the other side. So.
Welcome to Your Round Podcast with me, John Lebbon, and today's guest, George Sampson, the legend George Sampson.
Oh, stop.
What's it like? I always think, like, just say I was class at dancing, I'd just be walking in nightclubs and I'd just hide that it's me, George, and I'd just hit the dance floor. Have you ever done that?
At first, it used to be like that.
Yeah.
But then the novelty sort of soon wears off, because I always say this, if I do go, I don't drink anymore.
Right.
But when I used to drink and I'd go out to nightclubs and stuff, it was less about, it was always just, "Oh, you're the dancer, come and dance, come and dance, come and dance." And there's always that one sort of bloke that's in the club that just wants a dance off, and it's a movie to him.
Yeah.
And I used to say, like, "Oh, no, I'm here for just, I'm just chilling with my mates and just having a drink, And I'd leave it, and then I'd see him go to the dance floor. I'd see what he's doing. I think, you know what? Can have him. Or big pint. Can't help it. Can't help it. Circle. spread the crowd out.
How did you get into dancing, like, at a young age? Because, like, I know people getting into rugby, football and stuff like that. Like, is dancing like Eminem, like 8 Mile, where you just met up with another dancer and then you were just like, it's all like backstreet stuff.
So it's sort of, yeah, to be honest, there weren't a lot of lads doing it. When I was young, it weren't perceived as cool to do it. In fact, most lads that did it got bullied for doing it, especially like, growing up north and stuff. It weren't really perceived as a lad's thing to do.
Yeah.
But I went to the local high school. They were doing the show for like, I was like one of these, you're in year 6, you're coming up to high school, we're going to put on a show for you, show you all like what we're doing and everything. And they had a breakdance class on, and this fella, Swanee, his name was, from Liverpool, he taught a breakdance class. And I saw him go on stage and do a backflip, and I must have been 8, 9, and I was like, that's a bit of me, that, I'll have a go at that. And that was it, I was hooked. And you weren't allowed to do the classes unless you were in the high school. And my brother was doing him, he's a bit older than me, and he was in the high school, and my mum just said, "Look, he's only young, but he's with his brother, can he just tag along and join in?" And that was it, I started, 8 years old.
What did you think of Lasso from Australia doing the breakdancing?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what, it's such a shame, because there are so many. Australia have got some wonderful B-boys and B-girls, and I don't know how she got that. I don't know. There's loads of controversy online.
Was it something to do about like the funding to go or something? She could fund herself or something like that?
Apparently Australia don't have a board for like breakdancing. They don't have like an official system that allocates who the best breakdancers are, and so they went to another system that do dancing, and they didn't have a clue what they were doing, and apparently her husband was on part of this. I don't know, and she got picked. But do you know what? Love her or hate her, everybody was talking about her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Everyone was talking about her.
When I watched it, it looked like a sketch I'd put together. You know, like I was watching it thinking, is this real? Like I couldn't work out, because I don't know that much about dancing. I thought, is that real dance? Because when I've seen you dance, you're like, oh, that guy. Whereas I was watching it, and
Do you know what? It's strange, because with the breakdancing in the Olympics, they did it. In my opinion, they did it all wrong. They did it all wrong. When you see the sort of amazing stuff, the big tricks, that's what they should have focused on. Sort of made it like the gymnastics and had like a difficulty score. And that the musicality and all the actual dancing part of it was just a sub part of it, a small part. They made it all about the dancing and less about the tricks. And I think that was the thing with Raygun, is because she didn't have the tricks, she thought, I'm just going to try and outdance people and try and evolve several different cultures of dancing. And it just didn't work. I genuinely believe if I took someone off the street and had them for a month, could do better than what she did.
It's her facial expressions, because it looked like in her face, nailed it. You know what I mean? She was like, I've got this.
Oh, with chest. Yeah, she's
that's it.
Strong and wrong.
Strung around like that. And I felt like she was taking the piss, but obviously deadly serious.
Deadly serious. And that was her thing, is I think she knew that she wasn't going to be as good as the others in terms of her actual breakdancing. So she just tried to go at a completely different angle. Just unfortunately for her, it was the wrong angle.
How did you get into Britain's Got Talent? Like at 14, like we were talking before, like at 14, like I was knocking on doors and running away and stuff. Like
I was doing that as well.
I just like I'm a spanner now. I'm nearly 40, and I'm like at 14, like I'll go on TV. Yeah, that'll do. Do you know what I mean? Like I have the confidence to do that.
So it all started. I was busking. I used to busk.
Right.
I used to go out in Manchester, Liverpool, and in Warrington Town Centre, and I used to lay a lino down, put me boombox on. I used to busk for just for pedestrians, people in the street and that. And I was out in Manchester, and I was under the food court in the Arndale Centre, and they had me out, and I was dancing. And I used to get approached quite a bit by people, and they used to say I'm an agent or I'm this, that, and the other. And most of the time it was just bollocks, and we just sort of laugh it off. And this woman approached me, and she said, "Look, I'm a talent agent. I'm a scout, and I think you can go far." And it was just the sort of same old camaraderie. And anyway, she said, "Look, take my number." And I wasn't always like, "I'll take your number. I'll call you." Like, I never used to like giving my number out. I was a kid. And she was pretty persistent that I took a number and that she took mine. And so I did. And anyway, I never heard from her. And then about a week later, I got a text just saying, "Down the road from where you're dancing under the Arndale, there's an audition. You should go for it." I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was Britain's Got Talent at the time. And I rolled my lino up, and I thought, we'll just go and have a walk down. It was just down the road at an hotel that I knew. I was like, we'll have a walk down, me and my mum, and we'll go from there. So I had me stereo in one hand, my lino over my shoulder, and I walked in. And I was the last person that year, 2007, it was the first year, to audition, because Manchester were the last auditions. Right. And I just sort of rocked up at about 5:30, because I was like, well, I'm going to finish my busking set first. But, I've got food on the table. Yeah, I was like, and then I'll go down. And I went down and walked in. I saw the Britain's Got Talent flags, and I was sort of like, oh, shit. I was like, this isn't just an audition. But I thought, fuck, I'm here now. I may as well, get involved. And I walked in. And it was like this small sort of wooden floor in this dingy hotel room. And they had like a CD player on the side. And I think that was part of the appeal for me, is why I got through, is because they said, "What are you going to dance to?" And I was like, well, actually, the floor's a bit naff. It was like this wooden pieced together pub like floor. Oh, yeah.
A bit like a social club.
Yeah. And this small CD player. So I was like, let me do my thing. I rolled my lino out, turned my boombox on, and I went away with it. And that was the rest, like they say, is history.
Well, did you not feel any pressure? Like when I was like young, and like I remember just like reading out in class. I was like, "Oh, hello, everybody!" Like that. The thought of being on like TV with people, just millions of people watching you, like it's just a different like mindset or different upbringing or something.
I guess so, yeah. And to be honest, I was never a popular kid in school, but I was confident in my ability. I love to dance, and not because, like I said, not many boys did it. And because I did, I'd always sort of been glazed by teachers because I was the only boy, and they always wanted to keep me going and keep me doing it. So maybe I had like a false sense of confidence that I just was good at it. It turns out I was pretty decent at it. Yeah. And so, at 14, you don't, I don't know, I just guess at 14, I just didn't really think about things like that. For me, it was all about just nailing the routine, getting the moves right, trying not to fall on my arse and look stupid, and then I'd be all right. And then, they tell you things like, look just above their heads, the judges might picture them naked and all that kind of, well, thanks. But for me, it was just nail the routine. Don't worry about the cameras. Don't worry about it's just another audience. You're out busking. You're just doing your thing. And that sort of got me through it.
Did you think you'd win when you started, or was that like each round you're like, oh, well, so next round, or every round is like, I'm buzzing just to be here?
I was happy with just being there, to be honest. And I'd said to myself and I'd said to my mum, if we can get to the semi-finals, if we can get to the point where it's a live, the public vote, and it's not just the judges, because, let's at the time, Piers Morgan, Amanda Holden, Simon Cowell, not really experts in street dance. So I was like, they're going to get me through to the semis. If I can get through to the semis and the public then vote and they say, no, you're not good enough, I can handle that. That's fine. But I just wanted to get to the semis. And in the first year, I never got that far. I got to the round just before it. And that was the whole reason I went back, is like I was determined to get to the live rounds. So I went back next year and won it.
Well, it's weird because people with stuff like Britain's Got Talent, they're doing loads of auditions before you even get there, aren't they? I love it when Simon Cowell act like, you think, you've seen this act. You're the producer of the show. You know what's going on here and stuff like that. And
it's not quite what it is today, but yeah, there's like several rounds. I think there's 2 rounds before you see the judges.
Right.
So there's like the one that's sort of like an open round in front of a researcher. And then if they think you're good enough, you'll get through to a producer who's more high up in the hierarchy in the show. And if they like you, they'll put you through to the judges. And then even then, there's like loads of rounds sort of where you don't even have to perform. You do your first audition. You get through to a round where you all meet up in a bus, you go to London, you all sit of you, there's 120 acts in a room like this, and you're all sat there and you're waiting for the deliberation of whether you're going for this. Another round, but you've not performed again.
Yeah.
So it's like 4 rounds, 5 rounds before you get to actually performing in the live shows. And people actually can see what you... Because even the first audition, that's like 6 months before they air the show.
Right.
So you don't even know you're going to get through to the next bit until 5 months later. You're sitting at home waiting for a letter, waiting if you're going to air you. You don't, but there's some poor people as well that stand in a line for 12 hours to audition, get through the first round, think they're going to make it to the judges. They do, and then they never even get shown on TV. They think, I'll be on this week. You're getting around the family, around the telly, nothing.
I've known comedians get 3 yeses and they weren't on telly.
It's hard for comedians.
Do you know what I mean? Like they've got it and they didn't get showed on TV, and then they went out next round, that wasn't showed, and you're like, I thought every bit was on there, but comedians, I would never
I feel sorry for comedians. That's the one, it's the one sort of skill and art that if I was to do it, Britain's Got Talent must be an absolute... I know so many comedians that have done it and it's had such a detrimental impact when they've sold out clubs and pubs and been on the circuit and then gone to Britain's Got Talent. And because the 3 judges or whatever aren't really on board with that sense of humour, they get a bad rep on the telly and that's it, it's done. Well, it's so hard to come up.
Comedy's one of them. Like they have a warm-up act, they have an MC, everyone's quiet in a room, it builds up like a night. Whereas you're going on after a dog that's juggling or something like that. It's very hard to go on and then start going, oh, my mum does this. And you're like, it just doesn't suit it at all, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's really hard. Like I say, I know so many comedians having done sort of pantos over the years, and there's always a comic brought in, and every one of them, they all say the same thing, like they just wouldn't do.
No. Give me angina watching that. I'd just look and think, oh no, I couldn't do it anywhere near that.
Yeah.
What were the judges like? Did you get much to do with Simon and
I did afterwards.
Amanda?
So I was actually, after I won the show, I was signed to Psycho, his record label, just because they saw the impact that I'd had on people. They seen I used to get thousands of teenage girls camping outside my house, following me around. It was...
Must have been a nightmare. Didn't sound too bad.
It was, do you know what, you say that, but there were times where they'd camp outside the house and we used to get letters from the council, kicking us out, loud music, neighbours complaining, things like that. And it wasn't actually a nightmare them doing it. Of course, it was it's grateful for it all. Of course it was. But they used to brick the windows just with messages wrapped around the brick with all sorts attached to stones and stuff coming through, all sorts, mental.
Right.
And so it was a bit mental. But so because of the impact that happened, Simon signed me to his label, and we tried to do the music thing because that's all he knew.
Yeah.
And because there was no real career for a dancer back then. There was you're either a backing dancer, and that was kind of it. There was no, you weren't the star, you were always behind the star. And so because they wanted to make me the star, instead of trying to use my skill as a dancer, they decided to try and force me into singing and into music. And we tried it. For 2 years, I was signed to Simon's label, but it just didn't work. People didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. And if I didn't buy it, it wasn't authentic. And if it's not authentic, people don't buy it. So I was in contact with Simon afterwards. And listen, Simon's a great guy. He knows what he wants. He's got his sort of conveyor belt system of winners that come through every year. He's got a system that works for him. And everybody knows it. And you get in and you're not blinded by you're going to get this and you're going to be a megastar. You're on your own journey. You finish the show and you make your own decisions. And I think some people have suffered for that. Some winners have sort of really suffered afterwards because they've made the wrong decisions or they've trusted the wrong people. But ultimately, you don't know because you're not built for it. I was 14, a kid from Warrington. I've gone from, playing Kirby with the lads to suddenly my whole life changed overnight, and you're not really built for it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, 100 grand as well. I remember finding 20 quid when I was like 12.
I got taxed.
How do you get taxed on that?
14 years old, the day after I won, first thing that came in the post the next day, national insurance card. So they can tax me.
Jeez, I didn't think that would happen with it.
Well, it's not now. It's tax-free now.
Now
they say to you, tax-free, win it, but it weren't then. Oh no, I think I ended up with about 68.
Still all right at 40.
I mean, yeah, of course at 40. Listen, it paid off my mum's mortgage at the time. And so, yeah, obviously amazing. But no, I remember thinking, like, I won 68 grand. And then a few years later, a dog won 250 tax-free. Where's the justice? Where's the justice in the world?
But when you won it back in the day, like, that was a different way of winning it now. When it, like, you were like, that was mega famous, wasn't it then? Like, everyone watched it. Like, I don't watch them programs. I knew you'd won. Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of like in the papers, on the news and stuff like that. And
it's a different time, isn't it? We live in a different time. We live in such a digital era now. People just watch stuff on. I mean, if I watch it, I'm watching clips on YouTube afterwards. And to be honest, that's where a lot of the money is anyway.
Yeah.
But back then, there used to be a thing of camping around a telly, didn't they, on a Saturday night?
Yeah.
Ordering a takeaway, watching Saturday Night Takeaway and watching those kind of shows. We used to do it. And I think people just don't really do that anymore. I think we live in a different time now.
Well, you saying about lasses camping outside your house. You said that someone had a tattoo of you, didn't you, fella?
Oh, we had a few of them. We used to get a lot of people that used to like come to shows and stuff, and you'd get the odd person that'd say, "Can you sign me here? I'm going to get it tattooed." And I always find it like that a bit mental, like that, because it's forever, innit?
Yeah.
And then a message came through on Facebook from this bloke, and I won't mention his name, but he said, "Look, I'm thinking of getting a tattoo." He was like, and I was like, "Oh, usually I don't reply. I just be like the comment and just say, great, blah 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 blah." But I'd said, I was intrigued, and I was like, "Oh, great, mate, like awesome." I was like, "You have to let me know when you've had it done." Literally 3 days later, he messages me back, "I've had the tattoo done. I love it. It's absolutely amazing." And it was a portrait of me face, this big, like literally real size face, just on his thigh. Like just sort of next to his crotch area.
He'll have been with them girls outside. I was just one middle-aged bloke in the middle of a young teenager.
Well, those were scarier times for that. But yeah, he had me on one side and he had Tom Daly's face on the other side. So
he had a type,
pair of us. He had a type.
Oh.
Yeah, strange. Yeah. But there was a lot of that, and you sort of like, again, different times. And listen, I've seen this on your sketches. The 90s and the 2000s were different when you were a kid. You could go out till the lights went dark and you could do what you want. So you just sort of were like, back then, if things like, weirdos, you just call them a weirdo and move on.
There was no pedos, was there then? It was just like, that guy's just a weirdo down there. He's wanking in the window, it's just a weirdo. What's he like? What's Eric like over there?
Different times, wasn't it? But so like, it never even really occurred to me that, when he sent that, and I used like loads of things like that. I used to get police message me quite a lot, and police used to contact me quite a bit because there were sort of paedophiles that would fake being me to get access to young girls and young lads that were following my sort of and supporting me. And they used to be like, "Is this your account? Can you confirm to us that this isn't a real?" And like, thank God for like the blue tick that they brought in, which used to mean that you were somebody. Back nowadays, you can just buy them, can't you? But it used to mean that you were talking to the real person. And it was brought in as a method to try and stop people faking accounts, because paedophiles, like weirdo, loads of them used to make a George Sampson fake account, use me pictures, and get access to talking to all these teenage girls. That was mental.
That's dark, isn't it?
And that's the thing. Like, I don't want to deal with that. Like, that's not. I just want to dance. I just want to dance and make money, and that was it.
I was going to say, it's not what you associate, is it, with Britain's Got Talent?
Well,
is it?
No, of course. But with of course, like, as now, with social media, you get to see everything nowadays, don't you? So you do see like everything that went on. And of course it went back on then. We just didn't have access to it.
That's the thing. I think these days it's always went on. We just had a different opinion on it, didn't it? Like we had there's a guy in our. He's just been arrested like this year. He used to say, "Oh, you left your underpants at my caravan." We would all laugh. Like that was a joke. Like you just say that to people. Like everyone's like, "Oh, what's he like?" And you're like, now you look back like, he needed locked up 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it just shouldn't be terrorising kids like that.
No, absolutely not. It's a different time. It is a different time, but we walk amongst them. We walk amongst them.
Oh, after you won Britain's Got Talent, did you think, oh, this is what I want to do? Because like you say, it's hard to like path a career, especially them days, for dancing, isn't it? Like, where do you go? Do you go to Hollywood to be a dancer, or do you do this? And
I would have been happy with being a backing dancer. You know, if ultimately at 14 after the show, if somebody said, look, the end goal is, you're going to be dancing behind Chris Brown or Usher, and you're just going to be one of the dancers in the background, I'd have been happy with that. That'd have been me, like, set for life, whatever, done. And it was never really about the money. It was sort of like where we can go and what we can do. And so ultimately, as I thought I knew, because things like TikTok didn't exist. You can be a dancer nowadays. You can just upload a clip to TikTok, Instagram, or whatever. You can go viral, get money from that, and you can make a career out of it. But of course, these things didn't exist. Twitter didn't exist when I won Britain's Got Talent. And certainly, like, getting money for getting views online didn't exist. That wasn't a thing. You had to go out and physically put shows on in front of people and sell tickets and market and do all these things just to make money. So I never knew really where the end goal was. And because I had all these people around me, because I was so young and I didn't know the industry, I was given managers, accountants, lawyers, all these things. And I just sort of went along with it. And naturally, the progression was to get into acting. That was the sort of natural progression. You know, street dance in particular did have a lid on it. You couldn't really make a career out of it like you could now. And so I was suggested to meet with an acting agent, see if I could act and go from there. And, you know, luckily for me, I went to stage school as a kid. It was I never really was just a dancer.
Right,
you know, people say to me now, like, I reckon I'm probably a better actor than I am dancer. And people are like, oh, that's great, your brain's got to tell me you're the kid that dances. But I'd say I'm definitely a better actor than I am dancer. So it's strange. And that just seemed like the natural progression. I got really lucky because I got my first sort of big acting break at 18. We did Street Dance, these two big films, Street Dance 1 and Street Dance 2. And that was a sort of nice way for me to get into acting, you know, on the big screen, in movies. And I was able to just be a street dancer. I was essentially just playing myself.
Yeah.
And then from that, I was like, right, that's it. I want to be an actor now. And I've sort of since then just ride the wave.
Do you not get nervous? Like, honestly, we do them daft sketches in here. There's only a camera guy, my mate.
Yeah.
I get embarrassed. Like, I'm
really?
honest. Like, it's good. Remember when you start laughing when you shouldn't?
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes is just me laughing. So I get the nervous giggles out and stuff like that. And then, like, I just feel like, I don't know. I think it's because of one of them. I don't hate the way you look on camera and stuff like that. You're like, oh, God,
I
look
sound
like
dead scouse on camera.
Yeah. I sound like a chipmunk in the way I say, no. Apparently that's mental and stuff like that. You're like, I didn't know I had all these flaws until like you put a video on.
I can't watch it back anymore. A lot of the stuff, I either only have to watch it back if I'm using it for content, like cutting it up and having to edit it or whatever. If I don't have to, I don't watch it.
Yeah.
Or people always ask, you know, you did this, what, you this, that, and for all these TV bits. Do you ever watch them back? I can't.
You not get drunk in the house and put Britain's Got Talent on. That was me there. That was me there. Look at that.
Do you know what I've said to myself? I don't do that, but I've said to myself, it'd be nice one day that when I've had, hopefully, you know, an established acting career over the next 30, 40 years or whatever, I'd love to be a granddad at a wedding and then to play some cool music and get up and do a bit. And the grandkids be like, whoa, granddad can break, whoa. And like blow their mind as an old man.
Yeah.
And just like them have no idea that I ever had this secret life well, not secret, but like this past life of being this cool 14-year-old breakdancing kid that everyone knew.
Well, you could do that now, though, like Jackass, you know, in the age up. You could do that now, couldn't you? Walk around like the Arndale or something like that, breaking, like, stuff like that. If you videoed that, it would just be berserk, wouldn't it? And
it would, but I am so terrible with, like, coming up with ideas to do these kind of things, but, like, just doing it, just social media and uploading and stuff. I've never been hot on it.
No, well, it's a different generation. Like people who've grown up now, literally that's their life from 14, isn't it? They're getting like good photos and stuff like that and lighting and everything. Where I was like Facebook coming when 15 years ago or something like that. Mid-20s, that no one's really asked about it or out like that. So it's just that like TikTok and stuff. Like first video we put on, I think it was like 5 minutes long. It was like you'd never put a 5-minute TikTok video on, would you? And
1
stuff
minute's
like that.
The key apparently.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We were like putting stuff on. You like everything was spelt wrong. I didn't realize realise, see the subtitles?
Yeah.
First videos we were putting out, and it says, "Oh, do you want the subtitles?" Yeah, put subtitles. Didn't realise it wouldn't pick my voice up, so it was just all gibberish underneath. I was like, "Fucking hell, what's he saying there?" And you're like, "Oh God," I didn't even read through it, thinking, "No, it'll bound to pick up its AI or whatever."
Yeah.
So
you've got to be on it. You've got to be on it as well. 3 to 5 posts a day, they say.
Yeah.
I struggle 2 a month. I struggle.
I mean, sometimes if I'm on a night out and if I'm bored, my missus has gone to the toilet, I'll put a picture of my pint on and think, "Oh, great content." You know, and you think, "Oh, you're really doing the algorithms."
I try and look once a week through my phone. I scroll through and I think with my pictures, I'm like, "I've got anything. No, it's just pictures." Because I live in the moment as well.
Yeah,
we grew up in an era of living in the moment, and I do things and like. I just forget that I've got my phone and that there are people that are going to care that you're doing it.
Yeah,
like even today, sitting down and doing this, I've just put my phone on silent over there and that's it. It'll just stay over there. And then I'll get home and I'll be like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I why didn't I set up my own little shots? Why didn't I take photos? Why didn't I do this? And we're going to have to take photos afterwards, so I'll make sure I've done it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I just never... Just do stuff.
No, I'm the exact same. Like I've met people before, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't even get a photo." You're like, "Oh, yeah, you idiot," or something like that. And you're like, "Oh, none." That was like before we did the comedy. That there's no real point because it's just family and friends. And
no, exactly. Yeah.
My auntie's not that arse really. Or so like you can actually tell them, can't you? Whereas now, like you put it on, you're like, "Oh, maybe someone cares," but I'm the same as you. I just never. I think on Instagram, I've put 3 photos on, and they're just me lying in front of stuff because I do that same shit photo everywhere I go. Like that's the only one. Like, I'm in Japan, I'll do one of them crap photos, and you're like, you giggle to yourself, and you think people don't know you're ironic. People think, what a weirdo that guy's done.
They don't. So, and that people take what they see so seriously, don't they?
Yeah,
and that's the thing with acting, doing like, I get so much thing. People watch me on telly do things and play these parts, and to them it's real.
Yeah,
it's real. Yeah. I used to get death threats from people because I did this TV show, Waterloo Road. It's like a school show, drama. And there was a teacher, like this beloved character who'd been in it right through from series 1, right all the way through. And my character killed him off. Right. That was my thing. I didn't. It was sort of like there's this whole big scene on a roof and he ended up falling off. And I got death threats because people believe it.
Yeah.
People are so engrossed in it. And even now I still get shit for it. 10, 12 years later, I still get hate for it all the time.
Well, Deirdre did, didn't she? That fellow who was trying to kill Deirdre on Coronation Street. You had to go into hiding, didn't he? And stuff like that. And you're
mental,
like,
innit?
Because you did Emmerdale as well, didn't you?
Did a little bit of Emmerdale, yeah.
What was that like? Was that?
It was fun, it was nice. The soaps moved so fast. I'd only had sort of experience in TV and dramas and things like that, which are very slow. There's sort of like a couple of filming units. You go in, you do a bit, you go home. Soaps, you can be filming one episode at 1 o'clock and then moving on to a different unit, filming a different episode at 2 o'clock. Mental. But yeah, Emmerdale was fun, and I always like being up north anyway. I always like sort of filming up north, and Emmerdale was great because I knew a few people on it. We'd played them because we had a football team on Waterloo Road, and we played Emmerdale a few times. So I was well familiar with like a couple of the lads and stuff that were on there, and I loved it. I was only meant to do one episode. Right. I auditioned and never thought I got the part. I turned up to the audition. There was a lad there that I knew, one of these actory types, proper like stuck up types.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Just getting in the zone.
Very much that. Yeah. And he'd said in the audition, like, this is sort of like, I've got the part already. They've told me to turn up today, but they've basically told me I've got it. So I didn't even think I'd get the part. And I didn't even have an agent at the time. I was sort of like going through a real like shit part in my life. And I remember getting a text sort of 3 months later, like, can you come in? Like, we enjoyed your audition. Loved it. We offer you the part, thinking, I'd love to see that guy again.
Yeah.
Love to see him again now. But I got the part and initially was written in for 1 episode. Ended up doing about 3 months, 12 episodes. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I'm not dead. I'm not dead in it. So there's always a chance.
Say, you can always come back in that land, can't you? And if you die, there's a chance you could come back in it.
Even if you die in it, you still come back.
Well, the auditions and stuff like that, I've hardly been for any. I think I went for a presenter years ago.
Right.
And I read it wrong. Got my name wrong and stuff like that. And then we went for an advert, me and the lad we do the sketches with. And they wanted us on because they wanted like 2 people who looked like they knew each other. And we went there, and like you say, they're like, what agency are you with? Like, nowhere. Just not like, oh my God, don't waste your time. Because they were like, the same people were auditioning for everything, so they had like a little click.
Of course.
And you just felt like an absolute scruff. Like you just sat there and...
It's hard. I stand out like a sore thumb everywhere I go, especially because most of the auditions as well now are in London. Yeah. A few in Manchester, but mainly I have to go to London a lot. And I sit there and I walk into a room and there's all these sort of actory types that are sat there, they're all reading the scripts, and I'm like, I've learnt it, I know it, I'll be fine. I'll just walk in, wing it, confident me, I'll be sound. And it's a different world. But I do get nervous, like I do walking. That's the only thing nowadays I think I get real nervous for is auditioning. It's like going into a room, they'll have a little setup, kind of like this, where you just have a couple of cameras facing you, a panel of about 3 people, and they're not interested in you as a person. They just want to know if you fit the bill.
Yeah.
And you've learnt your lines, or you've learnt your song, you've got to singing in an audition. Every time, man, it's all 5p, 10p, honestly, a nightmare. But I go in and I think I try and overcompensate and just try and be like quite loud and just be like me. You're fine, you'll be all right. And most of the time that works for me. And sometimes I just get the words wrong to a song. You know you've messed up one little bit, and that's it. Your world crashes.
Are they bothered that you get a word wrong, or is it more like you're right for the role, or is it like definitely?
Sometimes you can get it wrong and it doesn't really matter. They know as soon as you walk in the door. They've got an idea in their head of what they want. You can come in and be the best actor, the best singer, the best dancer in the room, but if you don't fit the part. I had one recently, and I auditioned for Mamma Mia, and it was for an international tour, so it was like going around the world, going everywhere. It was like in China for 9 months. It was brilliant. I thought I auditioned for it, and I walked in, and I seen all these lads. They're all 6 foot, 7 foot, posture like this. They can all split, like do the splits, kick up to it, and I can't even touch my toes.
Yeah.
And they were all like these like really charming southern guys with bleached blonde hair, like quiffing off here, and I knew straight away. I knew, and don't get me wrong, like I backed myself. I was one of the best dancers in there. It was a dance call, and I was definitely one of the best dancers in the room. And they asked us to add like 2 counts of 8 of freestyle at the end of the routine that they taught us. And me being me, I was spinning on my head, doing all these great things, and I looked to my left, looked to my right, and all these other lads that were doing it were just splits, and straight away I was like, it's not for me, this. All these, this pasty white kid with tattoos from the north, and you've got all these southern lads that are 6 foot, postures out here, vests on, tanned up, doing the splits, and it's for Mamma Mia. They're out there. I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing here?
But a lot of people who do the acting, they need more your types. Well, I would like northern types in there, because a lot of the people who do acting that have pretty posh, aren't they, from privileged backgrounds, and it picks up on camera, doesn't it? When you video, and you can't really act that way. I know some people can, but
there's
more
authentic. There's a rawness, isn't there?
Yeah,
there's a rawness, and there's always that sort of appeal for somebody like me. There's everyone. There's loads of great series that are filmed up north. I mean, I can do accents, I can do whatever, and actually my agent's been having a go at me, because she's like, all the work you've done is northern. She was like, and I don't want to get to a point where people just see you as only being able to do stuff that's based up north. So we need to get you in something and get you seen by casting directors in the south so we can get you more work. But I think there's always an appeal. I watch some great dramas that are based in sort of your Liverpools, your Manchesters, or anywhere up north. And for a scruffy white kid with tattoos, there's always an appeal for it. Always. How
does it work? Do you just like see the audition, or does your agent say, we've got a role here, this will work? Or
there's a few ways it can work. A lot of it is who you know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of it is who you know. This whole industry is based on who you know. But I have an agent, so my agent will go out and look for the work. There's a portal called Spotlight. It's this great thing where all the jobs come into Spotlight.
Even like for like Netflix and stuff like that?
Yeah. Most of them come to Spotlight, and basically there's a casting breakdown on Spotlight. So it'll say, we want a guy that identifies as male, must look between 20 and 30, blah, 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 blah. And then there'll be a breakdown of what the character is. This is the character. His name's George. He's from blah, 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 blah. And your agent will see it, and I'll see it as well. So I get an email breakdown every day. I get a couple of links from Spotlight saying, this has come in. I don't see them all. Your agent will see more than you, because the bigger jobs, the Netflixes, the sort of big films, they don't want to just put them out to everybody, because they don't want to watch through 6,000 tapes.
Yeah.
So if you've got a decent agent, the chances are you're a decent actor, so they'll get more work. They'll see more of it on Spotlight than I will. But the work goes to there. My agent will go, right, this has come through. They'll send off my headshot and my show reel, and then if the casting director likes it, they'll email my agent. We like George's tape. We like his show reel, his CV, his headshot. Can you ask him to tape? And then I'll get through a script, and I'll sit at home, I'll set my camera up, I'll learn a script, and I'll perform to the camera a tape, just like a scene. I'll get somebody to read in for me if I have to. Mainly my girlfriend over FaceTime on the phone, reading in for me. Like it's horrible.
I was just about to say stuff like that. Like my missus couldn't be like, she couldn't be in this building if I was in it. I'd say go somewhere else, because I'd just cringe her out.
It is. It's horrible, and it's really hard as well, because if you're in the room and you've got a bit of something going on, you've got another actor reading to you, and a bit of it's easy. Like, but when you're just at home in your living room chilling, and you've got your missus on your FaceTime trying not to laugh at you doing it, it's really hard to like properly deliver and give everything that you've got. So you have to really like teach yourself to just be able to do it. Just get into the character wherever you are and turn everything else off, And imagine, your girlfriend is this character on the other end of the script and do it, and then get a tape that you're happy with. I usually get you get to a point where you're doing it and you're like, oh, messed up that bit, that was a little bit different. And you try and do it your way. But the truth is, just get 3 that you've got it right and you've got it comfortable with and you think they were okay. Get 3, watch them through, give it sort of a couple of hours, get away from it, come back to them a couple of hours later when you've not thought about it, watch them again, pick your favourite, send it off to your agent. They'll send it off. If the casting director likes it, she might come back and go, right, well, now we want a face-to-face, in-person meet with George. Can he come to London? Usually London, £100 a go every time. Or they'll ask for another tape or a meeting on Zoom or FaceTime or whatever. And you go from there. And it's usually like 5 or 6 rounds before you've got the part. Because they're seeing thousands of people. You're not the only one that they're seeing tapes for. There's thousands. It's so competitive. They say actually that 95% of actors are unemployed at all times.
That guy off Ricky Gervais's Afterlife, the fattish guy.
Yeah.
He's done loads of live things, hasn't he? And he hasn't worked in like 2 years. And he was like the funniest thing on Afterlife, wasn't he? And he just said he just can't get any work.
No, there's not. To be honest, COVID, the lockdown really fucked things up massively. We were the first industry to close, last one to open.
Yeah.
So there was like this big black hole in the middle of just no work. And they're sort of still recovering from that because there's no money. Tory government didn't help because they didn't put any money into the arts. There wasn't a lot of money going into the arts, so hopefully things pick up with that with the government. But they've got there's a lot going on right now in the world that the arts is not getting a lot of money. And then there was a writers' strike in LA. A lot of the actors and the writers in LA went on strike, so there weren't things being written. And a lot of casting for British people actually comes from abroad, so that had a massive impact on the work over here as well as over there. So I think it is slowly getting better, but I'm somebody I've got a great CV of TV and drama work and acting. Well, not just TV, but like musicals, plays, things like that. I've not stopped working for the past 10 years, but this last 3 years, I can probably count on my hands the things I've had auditions for. It's really just gone. And it's hard because you want to stay patient and you think it's going to turn itself around, it's going to pick up. But, I'm lucky that I could sort of rely on the George Sampson thing. The sort of reality. I can do gigs. I can do panto at Christmas and make good money. I can go live stream a bit there. I can make money just off my name. And I'm lucky, but there are a lot of actors out there that can't do that.
Get paid a lot though for panto, don't they? I've talked to comedians. Comedians always that's where the money's at because they're doing 3 shows a day or 2 shows a day or whatever.
The schedule for panto is unbelievable. You're doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I love it. You're in this bubble at Christmas with this new cast of people. You're all living in the same area. I'm in Portsmouth at Christmas. Can't wait. It's gonna be great. I'm getting my Dick Whittington this year. First time playing Dick, so that'll be fun.
Right.
And the pay is amazing.
Yeah.
I think theatre in general is decent pay, but panto especially because you're cramming so much into 1 month. They have to pay you because you only get 2 days off in the 6 weeks that you're doing it, and you're doing 2-3 shows a day every day, 12 shows a week, which is just unheard of. Even in the biggest musicals, you're only doing 8-show weeks. Panto, you're doing 13, 14. You can be doing unbelievable amounts. And they sell out. They sell out because people love panto.
Yeah.
And I love doing it because panto is usually a kid's first experience of theatre, getting to see live theatre, getting to see jokes on stage and dancing and singing. It's their first experience. And they believe it. It's magic to them. Especially certain shows you do Sleeping Beauty and you see all these little, you see these little girls come with a family all dressed up as Aurora and Sleeping Beauty and stuff. It's magic, it's magic. So I love doing it. And it's always, it's nice as well because coincidentally, it's always December, January time, right before you pay your tax.
Oh, yeah.
Right before your self-employed tax bill comes in April, you get your big pay from panto. So you can sort your tax bill out.
Who's the biggest wanker you've met in celebrity world? Because we've only been doing the interviews and stuff like that. There is some fucking... I love people who talk about the selling the third person. What would he do? And you're like,
it's hard. Do you know what? It's hard. I never try and judge people, especially because different walks of life. I always find that performers and people who've sort of been through the mill a bit are the nicest. And then I've met sports stars who I've generally thought, if a day goes by where I don't ever see you again, fine. But it's a different walk of life. It's a different sort of principle with them because they're not media trained. They're not a lot of these people that get into it, and especially nowadays as well, because most people are famous just from like filming themselves on their phones.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no media training. They're not used to like being able to handle people and talk to sort of your everyday person. I'd say a lot of what I learned about dealing with people and talking to people and getting to know people, I learned back when I was 13, busking on the street.
Yeah.
Because that was performing for an audience of not people that came to watch somebody dance. That's people who are just going about their everyday business, hitting up the Arndale Centre to do a bit of Christmas shopping or doing a bit of this or going to work or whatever. And that audience, because they're all so different, I got quite good at being able to handle and deal with people from different walks of life. So I think being Northern anyway,
yeah,
we're more inclined
friendly,
to sit and talk to people and give people the time of day and stuff. So I always try and give people the benefit of the doubt. When I've met somebody who's like an influencer, what the fuck is an influencer? I'm not an influencer. I never will be an influencer. Yeah. It's not my thing at all. But I think, you've made yourself famous online. You don't really know how to handle that sort of like, There's
no longevity in a lot of them either, is there? Like, we were talking about like people like Pua Bevo, who's sucking on titties. Like, how long can that go on for? You know what I mean? Like, that has a shelf life. And then you worry because they've packed the job in, they've got the new teeth, they've got the bird, and you're like, where's the next steps for that going?
Well,
like,
it becomes desperate, doesn't it? And
that's what I mean.
And it's that thing of, and this is why I've really struggled sort of with social media and this kind of thing, because there's always somebody out there that's willing to go that extra mile for clout, or what clout is, and it's views and it's likes and it's the money that you get and the lifestyle you live through views and through commenting and things like that. And I've never seen myself as somebody that would ever be desperate enough. Even I Show Speed, he's one of the biggest sort of influencers in the world online. But, he started by setting his room on fire with fireworks and things like that. And I just think the levels you have to go to...
Well, it's going higher each time, isn't it? Like, people are hitting people, strangers and that, aren't they? And, like, giving out roses to old women and stuff like that.
Because you've seen everything now, haven't you? Everything's been done. Everything's been done. Everything's been done. Nothing's original anymore. It's really hard to be original. And it used to be that talent was enough.
Yeah.
And ironically, I've got talent. So, platforms like TikTok and Instagram and stuff should be great for me. But I just think, like, as a 31-year-old bloke, can I see myself in the middle of an aisle in Asda, placing my phone down and just skanking and dancing in the middle of the... I just can't do it. But there is someone out there that will, and
There's people that will take their underwear off and do that dance and put it in a thing, and then...
Yeah, and that's the thing. I just think, like, I scroll through TikTok and I see people, and I just think, oh, God, come on. You can't be wearing flat caps at 31 and breakdancing in Asda. You just got to, like, there's a limit to what I'll do.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that I've had this talent and I've been able to work for all these years doing it. And I'll happily, like, rent a dance studio out and film a nice routine that I think's amazing and upload that. But that doesn't get you views, unfortunately. Like, that just isn't good enough. You have to break the boundary. You have to break the fourth wall. You have to go out and do it in front of people. And you basically have to grab people in. You have to market yourself. Your talent isn't enough. And it's just the levels of desperation. Like you say, swallowing potatoes on live, like whatever it is, and there's no offence to Beaver. Do what you got to do.
Oh, he seems like a nice fella, isn't that? I just feel sorry for them people, because in my head I'd be like, where do you take that? Like, it's not like, oh, we're going to do a stage show, he's going to eat titties live on, and you think, you can't go live. It'll just
go to that next level of desperation.
It'll be OnlyFans or something like that, won't it? And then it'll be like, he'll have a sex tape, and you're like, oh my God, Beaver's got a sex tape.
Potatoes elsewhere.
Yeah, that's how it'll be, won't it? Like,
and it gets to that, and I just think, I worry, because there is that level of desperation, and there are people going to these lengths, and you see these sort of pranksters and doing stuff that I just think, if you'd have done that back in the day, you'd have just got a wallop.
Yeah, some of them need a whack, don't they? Like, I think people benefit these days from a punch.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people are just walking around like they've never been punched, and you think, just a good hide and just sort them out a little bit, you know what I mean? Like,
you know what I will say? There's this one fella I do see online, this Jack Doherty. Have you seen this fella? American kid.
Does he have a bouncer with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was thinking.
Needs a wallop.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Needs a wallop.
Yeah.
And he'll just walk. I seen him walking through a centre with his arms, doing the carrying car, and just barging people for no reason.
Yeah.
And then as soon as somebody says it, his bouncer will just step in front. I think, you need an hiding, you lad.
Be better if
you won't get away with that in Warrington.
Well, there'll just be a couple of them, because bouncer can't bat a 3 or 4, can he? So, like, he just needs to come across the wrong person, and, like, I don't know, stuff like that. I just look at him, because I'm old as well. You're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
like, is this a living now? Is this what you're doing?
It's crazy.
Just upsetting people?
We get paid for views.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like I say, clout, regardless of what you think, clout is the most dangerous drug there is.
Yeah, yeah.
It really is. The things people do to just get some attention online. And we've always had people that love it, like, you've got the sketches for it, that people do for attention online, but it's just gone to mad levels, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like even on like Facebook, and you think you just got family and friends on here. You're like, this feels like you want to like, I don't know, it's just a bizarre like signing in at the hospital with no context. You're like, what are you hoping out of this? And then just
like, what do you want?
Building the comments up, suspense in the comments. You're like, I don't understand what this is, and then it's always like private, DM me.
Oh,
come
why
on,
did you post it? I know, and that's the thing. And like I said, I've been so terrible at like, and I'm trying to appreciate that it's probably part of my job now that I should do that kind of thing. And so I got into streaming. I started streaming.
Right.
Live streaming. Just me sat in my game set up in my studio and just sat there playing games, talking to people. If they want to come in, they can come and watch. If they don't, it doesn't really matter to me. And they just get to know me. Yeah. And I'm very honest and I'm very open. I always have been. I think that's kind of like my appeal these days, is the fact that there is no bullshit. It's not false. You know, I don't post just the best bits on social media. I don't post at all.
Yeah.
But on the stream, people get to know me and all the ups and downs, and I found that quite nice. You know, in this sort of mad world of technology where people do all these crazy things, and not just that, but people are outrageously talented as well. I see people that post stuff, and the way they've edited it and the way they've put it together, I think that would take me 12 hours to try and put something like that together, and this guy's doing it 8 times a day. And so I appreciate that, and I haven't got that sort of, it's not laziness, but it's almost like I just haven't got the will to do it. I haven't got the will to sit on my phone on my computer for 15 hours a day to put 3 TikToks together. I've got my dogs to feed. I've got life to live. But yeah, the streaming, I found that to be quite different because I turn off about 7 o'clock from life. I just think, you know what, it's time for me to sit down now. I'd usually sit, put my feet up, watch a bit of YouTube, a bit of telly, whatever, or game with the boys, get online with the fellas. And now I can just do that. And people could just watch me do it. They can just sit and talk to me and go, oh, what's your day been like? What have you been up to? And they'll all ask me today about how this has gone because I've told them last night on stream that I'm coming in and stuff. So they'll all ask me how that is, and I'll just be open and honest. Say, yeah, it was nice. You know, we had a lovely chat. We sat down. It was great, and that's it. And that's all they're asked about. You know, there's no falseness to that.
Well, that's a video of giving money to tramps or something like that. That'll be a good viral one. We'll just get all them like viral things people do. George Sampson gives money to tramp. I can't believe I'm being video doing this. Stuff like that.
Why do people do that? It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's unbelievable. I actually saw someone yesterday exposing someone on TikTok of this guy in a tent and he making out that he was homeless and he'd sat with his iPhone on his brand new stand filming himself like begging for gifts. And he's got a car and a house and all these things, and just think, like, that's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that you can get away with that. It's unbelievable that it's actually legal.
Well, it's like fraud. It's like fraud. It's like them people who say, like, do you want to be a millionaire? God, still living in a 2-bedroom house. And you're like,
oh my God.
Like,
Forex traders.
They never tell you how they made money. Or, like, they're trying to make money out of telling you how to make money.
Scheme.
Yeah, that's exactly. And you're like,
you buy their program, they make money off you buying their program, and when you stop buying it, the money stops for them. It's that simple.
Yeah.
But everyone buys it because they believe it, and again, it's playing on people's desperation.
That's what I mean. It's always
playing
like,
on people's. You know, we're going through. Everyone's going through hard times right now. There's not a lot of money about. You know, and I think people are just playing on that desperation. People don't want to work because you go out and you do a physical job and you don't get paid enough for it.
No.
And bills are always on the way up, but the wages aren't going up. So there's that act of desperation, and then you get these people, you know, get on my course. I'm an expert trader.
Sorry, I'm just in Dubai. And it's the backdrop's always a Lamborghini.
Yeah, but it's been like that forever. I know celebrities and people that I've worked with and done shows with. And it's been and they'll rent out an Airbnb of somebody else's gaff that's massive.
Yeah.
And just they'll rent it for 48 hours. And this girl, she took 48 different sets of bikinis because it backed onto a beach in Turkey and it was a massive house. She took enough photos to lie about what she'd been doing for 2 years in that 48 hours. You know, the next week she was in Santorini. It was just another angle of that beach in a different set. And like, she'd done this and this, and she's doing a modelling shoot next week for this company. It's not, she was just on the pool table in this geezer's house. Like, it's just complete, but it's been about forever.
Yeah.
It has been about, that kind of thing's been about forever, but I'm just not about that.
Is it a northern thing that you play everything down, don't you? Like, I love it when you get a deal. You know, like I'm in Blackpool, 30 quid this being based. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it's like, these days, that would be terrible. That's terrible for clout or whatever it is, isn't it? You're meant to be like posh as you can get, like all these rooms, 1,000 a night or...
But I think this slowly, like, I think there are people, I think there is an audience out there for people that understand real.
Yeah.
I think there is. I think people see it and people know it exists. But I do think, especially young people are more susceptible for falling for that bollocks.
Yeah.
I do. And it's an older audience. And I've noticed that my audience now is an older audience. I don't get a lot of kids watching my streams. You know, they're all sort of people in their mid-20s, late 20s, 30s now that grew up with me, that watch me now. And I don't attract a lot of younger people because they're not interested in what I've got to say. And I couldn't be more grateful for it, if I'm honest. Like, I do worry about sort of kids and stuff and stuff that's going on online. But yeah, I think they are more susceptible to that.
Well, their attention span's getting shorter. So they just see a guy with like 2 models. I want that. Not like how he got that and stuff like the cost. They're just like, oh, I want that. And apparently young people are dating less than ever. Apparently, like, young lads I think it's because, like, online, like, the best looking lads, like the top 10% are taking all the women. Because back in the day in a nightclub, you could only go with one, couldn't you? And then it filter around, whereas now online, one guy could take half of them, can't he? So when I was watching a program, it was explained, I thought, that sort of does make sense.
But it's also standards as well, isn't it? People are now, because of what's been blown up online, even on both sides of the spectrum, like, you know, you see these people that are absolutely beautiful, that are doing all these things, making all this money, doing all that. And that's, you then set that bar. There's no realism. There's no like, listen, I'm an average 6.5 at best. You know what I mean? So that's my appeal. And there's none of that. Everyone wants to be up there. There's no like acceptance. And there's a lot of people that argue, because everyone wants to be that. People are found not to love themselves. Like, people don't appreciate what they've got to offer. You know what I mean? I know I'm 31, receding, breakdance since I was a kid, but I've got a bad back and that's me. Wonderful. That's me. I love that. You know what I mean? And I come from where I come from. I love where I come from, and that's it. I wouldn't want to be anyone else. But I think for a lot of young people, they see these people who are these crypto traders who are good looking, drive Lamborghinis and make millions a month, and that's what
just on the phone all the time doing deals, aren't they? Like that. You're like, oh my god, I love it. Honestly, I absorb all that stuff. I say to Chris, like, anything cringe online, I'm just drawn to stuff like that. You're like, I just love it. I watch a documentary.
Because you can see through it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know what I mean? It's because you can see through it. But I think that's the thing with us as like that older generation. I think a lot of us can see, but there is a susceptible market of people that don't see through it, and I kind of feel sorry for them, because it's tough for them, and they're going to find out the hard way. You know what I mean? When the money stops coming in on the trades, and suddenly the coin that they were buying on crypto no one cares about anymore, and they've invested all their money, and meanwhile the guy that lured you in with the video has took your money and ran off. Like, they're going to find out the hard way.
Jake Paul's coin's not worth anything anymore. Shocker, absolute shocker. That, you know what I mean? Like, it's fallen for it. But you know, because the videos we put on, the amount of people who think they're real. Oh, so this is the world we live in. You're like,
I've seen it, especially like where you do the hardest bounces one and things like that, and all the sort of the fake prison stories and that. The people come in like, won't last 2 minutes.
I've just googled. He's a comedian. He didn't go to jail. You're like, the whole thing's not real. Do you know what I mean? It's not the fact I'm a comedian.
It's mental, isn't it?
Oh, but some of them, like you say, the bouncer stuff, it's because online you see people like that.
Of course,
like, them jail ones. I think we killed genres, because like Stop Oil, we started doing them. They're fucked off. The gangster ones, I don't see any gangster ones anymore. I was saying, Chris, we'll have to stop doing some stuff because we're killing it.
But it is. I just think, I always thought with those, like, not yours, but when you see the ones that actually believe it and tell, like, come on these shows and talk about it, I just think, that's the last thing a gangster would do.
Yeah.
Come and tell you about it. Come and tell you everything they've done on a podcast that's going to be watched on TikTok by 12-year-olds. That's the last thing they're going to do.
Well, it's the ones, like, I think it's because a few of the real ones got notoriety.
Yeah.
And some people are like, well, I went to jail. I know it was for tax evasion, but maybe I could. And then they just start, and like, it's how many people they knock out, isn't it? It's always like, I knocked 13. You're like, 13?
Never got in a fight. Like,
imagine being the 12th, like, my turn soon. Like, you know, just, like, I don't know. I always find stuff like that dead weird, and like, I like tentacles always get up. You're like, oh, this is a load of bullshit. This and
of course it is. I got to a point where I just have to say, like, I click on the video now. I'm not interested. Don't watch any of that. I just my For You page now is see about the same 6 people over and over again. But you are one of them.
Well, the worst thing about them For You page, just so you don't, like, I don't really scroll. I'm just no name. Like, I'll put a video on because I didn't have any of it, so I just put the video on, try reply to as many comments as I can, and then if you don't use that, it's just naked women. And I'm not just saying that, like, I know it sounds like absolute.
What, you then watching?
Honestly, I don't know why it's so naked, but if you don't like scroll and stuff, that's what it'll just give you.
Oh yeah, if you watch anything for an amount of time, that's it. It'll go, right, that's what he wants to watch. We're going to flood him with it now.
Yeah.
And I always get worried, because like, me and my missus, we're not like that kind of couple where we care about what each other's following, who's following who, or what you're doing. We really don't give a shit about any of that. But I always get worried that I'm going to be sat there on TikTok and like look away for a moment and have like 15 seconds watched of something that she's not going to like, and then all of a sudden watch me scrolling, and it's just pure filth. Like, it's not anyway. Mine's just full of gaming videos and memes and, like, say yourself and things like that. So I don't anyway, but they're onto us, aren't they? It's scary.
I had to do it because when you open your phone, it normally comes on your For You page, whatever it is. And because I had never scrolled, it was just like lasses in gyms and stuff like that. So I had to just one day, just like comedy, just actively
sure
go on
watch it till the end.
Yeah, I just thought, fucking, just when I first got it, just oiled up asses on your phone. I can't help this in the gym and like stuff like that. And then I thought, just when you first opened it,
they're onto us.
Yeah,
it's the same. You know what? The streaming is mental. I stream on multiple platforms, so I stream on TikTok. But I also stream on Twitch, which
What's
is like
Twitch?
Twitch is like a specific gaming, or it was, but now you get people sat in hot tubs and doing all sorts, just live streaming. But that was the sort of original gaming live streaming, the biggest one. And you go on there to watch your favourite streamers live. And I started streaming on there just because the money was better, and I thought if two different audiences are better than one audience, may as well expand.
How does it work? Do you get paid by views, or people like pay to watch it?
Right, you don't get paid for views, but the more viewers you get, you're more likely to get sponsorships for the stream. For example, like people like other gaming, big gaming will come to you and they'll say, right, a controller company or whatever, they'll come and say, look, we know you're getting this amount of views. We'd love to have our logo just at the bottom of your screen and we'll give you a discount code or all that kind of nonsense. Or people subscribe, so they'll pay like $5 a month. And it's a bit like Netflix. It's a bit like you know, you're going live 12 hours a day. And people don't have to subscribe. By all means, they don't have to. But because they appreciate the content you're putting out, they pay $5 a month. And with that $5, you give them whatever benefits you can. So I always like, if I'm gaming and you're a sub, you can come and play with me, get in the game with me.
Yeah.
So it's more of an actual experience rather than just watched. And so you get views that way. But TikTok, honestly, I can't even mention Twitch. Viewers just, they're watching. They're literally like, the algorithm is so clever.
Yeah.
There must be some sort of AI built into it. I don't know what it is. But I even mention Twitch and I get restricted. I get a restriction comes up. Don't do that. And I'm like, I can't even just be me half the time and just say what I want to say. Because sometimes I slag TikTok off because they take a lot of money off me. And I'll happily slag them off on stream. And as soon as I do, the viewers start dropping. Like, it's mental.
Same with certain words and stuff like that, isn't it?
Everything. Like, you can't say die. You got to say unalive. You got to say that person was unalived. You can't say kill or die or anything like that. Or
freak or out like that in comments. Like, he's a freak, and like suspended comment and stuff like that. And Bill Gates, don't mention Bill Gates. There's one that just don't mention.
It is mental. And like, I'm signed now by TikTok, ironically. You know, they manage me now for the streams and stuff. And I'm constantly like messaging them, just like, look, what can I do here? Like, I've been restricted because I've said this. I was like, just tell me what I'm allowed to do and I'll keep it as sort of PC as I can. But don't want to lose the authenticity as well. Like, part of my stream is that sometimes I don't even play the game. Sometimes I'll just be sat, character just not moving in the game, and I'll just sit and talk to the chat for half an hour, 45 minutes, because that's what they want. They want to ask me, what was Waterloo? What was Britain's Got Talent like? They just want to sit and chat.
Yeah.
So I do that, and constantly getting worried. Once I showed my audition on YouTube, I put that up. Stream cut off straight away. How dare you show YouTube content live? Blah 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 blah. I was like, fucking hell! I can't even show me on audition. Like,
well, I did one of them gangster ones about Pablo Escobar, and that got taken off for promoting terrorism because obviously he was a terrorist. And like, I asked for a reviewed no, and you're like, fucking hell! Now I've got like a terrorist badge on it. And you're like, this is.
They're on to you.
That's what I mean. Like, it's the worst one to have, isn't it? Promoting terrorism, like fucking hell. I'm there with like Al Qaeda and stuff. You know, when it, on the thing, you think, what? Just because I said like Pabs, good lad, Pabs. You know, that was it.
Isn't it mental?
Yeah,
isn't it mental? And I guess, you know, because it is so dangerous. I get that they've got to have these sort of, they've got to watch us like that, because there are people that use TikTok to promote, you know, terrorism. They're out there. There's loads of it. But I just think, just watch the video.
Yeah.
Just actually get a human to watch it, and you'll understand straight away that it's either satire or it's not what you think. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be, especially if you've appealed it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
What games do you play? Because I'm so Chris will probably have a better like what is it like? Back when I was playing, it was like, are you playing Mario Kart and stuff like that, or Rainbow Level and stuff like that?
No, so Call of Duty, FIFA, Fortnite.
I've heard of them.
They're the sort of big ones. But then I play sort of games like this game called RuneScape. Well, I don't know what that is. An old school game, sort of an online role playing game, medieval settings. And
is that where you get swords and stuff? I think I've seen a film on it.
Chop trees and fire make and all this kind of stuff. And it's sort of role player based. And then Habbo Hotel. Things like just old sort of nostalgia games I used to play when I was younger. They've really been hitting off in the streams. Because of the age of the audience. So I just play whatever, but then sometimes you'll get a subscriber come through that says, look, can you play this? I want to see this on stream. And if it's not 80 quid for the game, and I don't want to play it, I'll play it. I'll play most things, to be fair, whatever they want to see. Most times we just sit, like I say, we just sit and chat. So the game really isn't, for me, because I'm not a gamer. I am a gamer. I love gaming and I'm good at games. But the stream don't really give a shit about what game I'm playing. They just want to talk. They want to talk business. They want to know about this person. When I did this show, there might be an Emmerdale fan, for example. Yeah, I know what's Danny Miller like when you worked on Emmerdale and this, that, and the other. So they always have set questions. Honestly, if I got a sub on £1 for how many times I got like certain questions, I'd be a millionaire. Honestly, do you still dance?
Oh yeah. Do
you still act? I get a lot of, were you on X Factor? Fucking hell. Are you the dancer off X Factor?
Yeah.
Do the math. Obviously not. I get like, what was Simon Cowell like? £1 for every time that came in, like, honestly. And what was it like on Waterloo Road? You get things like that. And so, yeah, I just end up finding myself repeating the same answers to the same questions for the majority of the stream. And it's got to the point now where I've created a virtual background now that's just a wall of like picture frames that say, yes, I still dance.
Oh, yeah.
So I just have that as my background now.
What was Brendan like on Celebrity Coach Trip? I don't know why, like, when you were just thinking, I love Celebrity Coach. I don't know why they don't do that more. Like, out of them shows, that's one I would watch.
I love
So every day I'd be like, half 5, it's on.
It was mad. It was mental. It was a mental experience because, of course, my partner was Roxanne Pallett.
Jeez, if you brushed down with her, she'd have been getting you done.
This was the thing. And so I did panto with her the year before. And I've worked with Roxanne a lot, so I know what she's capable of. Like, I know what she's like. And I've always got on with her because I'm so good at avoiding drama. I don't drink, I don't go out after shows, things like that. So whenever there's drama involved, I'm usually never involved. I keep the peace with everybody. I can generally get on with most people. But I know what, I've seen Roxanne get into scuffs and dramas and stuff. She was my first on-screen kiss. Waterloo Road. So I'd gone, we sort of go back a bit. And I did this panto with her, and we had an incident in panto where we're all in this big rehearsal room, and Flesh Creep, the guy playing the bad guy, Flesh Creep, he had to say, she was singing, Duffy, you got me begging you for mercy. And she's being trapped by the bad guy. And they were rehearsing that, and the director had said, like, can you just like drag her along the floor at this point? And she was all for it. And he dragged her along the floor, and about 10 minutes later, she just broke down crying. And she was like, the way he pulled me, like, all this, and like tried to say it was much more than it was. We were all in the room, we all saw it. But she had demanded that there was an apology. So I'd seen this before from her, so this wasn't new to me, what happened on Big Brother. But that coach trip, Celebrity Coach Trip, we had filmed it before Big Brother. We had filmed it in the summertime. Right. It was actually my birthday, so it was end of June. We were out there filming it in Spain and stuff. And Brendan, by the way, class.
Yeah, he looks like just a genuinely nice fella, right?
Genuinely, just honestly, the nicest geezer ever. But yeah, the filming with Roxanne. But then, of course, Big Brother happened. And then it was like, there was this whole, are we going to air it? Are we going to air this episode of Coach Trip? And I think they left it about 2 months after Big Brother. They kind of waited for it to die out. And then they aired it.
Yeah.
It hadn't died out.
No, I was going to say, because even now, like, it's years, isn't it?
And again, I was getting death threats from people. How dare you go on that show with Roxanne? How dare you, like, this, that, and the other? And I was like, in one angle, trying to just say, well, look, this hadn't happened. And I'd know Roxanne. And me and Roxanne had never had any trouble. And it was a gig at the end of the day. You know, doing Coach Trip was a gig. And I enjoyed it. And I loved the experience. And I'm not regretting that I did it. I had a wonderful time. I didn't know all this was going to happen, so I'm not going to apologise for doing what I did, for being a partner when it hadn't happened yet. You know what I mean? So I just ignored it for a while. But even now, still people message me like, "Can't believe you did that with her."
I thought better for you, George. I thought better, like that sort of crack, isn't it? Like, I'm really disappointed. So, I'm not upset. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. I got that for a while, but yeah, that was a Celebrity Coach Trip was amazing, man. What an experience. And we had like a good cast, if you will, like of the sort of celebrities that were on it. There was Charlotte from Geordie Shore, and she's mental.
Yeah.
Bladdered every night, like mental. We did a wine tasting event.
That was her job, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like basically just being a mess on camera. That's like Geordie Shore's job for like...
Yeah, and she didn't get on with Roxanne. Those two clashed because they were, two very independent, strong girls. Yeah. And they both love a bit of drama. They both made careers off drama, you know what I mean? In different respects. And I really got on with Charlotte. She's actually a really, really, really lovely girl. And like I said, I got on with Roxanne at the time, but they clashed. And because I was Roxanne's partner and stuff, I ended up on the back end of that a few times.
But you feel like you've got a defender, won't you?
Well, not a defender, but like it was aimed at us rather than just aimed at her. And because we'd do interviews after the challenges.
Oh, at the end of the day, wasn't it? Like you'd have to step. I'm voting for these two because of this.
And we ended up voting for Charlotte at the wine tasting event because she did get bladdered and sort of ruined it for everyone. But didn't she? Was just making TV. She was just doing what she does best. And like I look back now and I think, you know, I let Roxanne stand there and she said all these things about her, and I just stood there like nodding next to her. But Charlotte ended up falling out with us for it, and we're good friends now. Charlotte's lovely, but I loved it, man. It was like one day we were in there like cleaning shit out of a donkey stable in the hills in Benidorm or wherever it was. I loved it. Loved it. It was just class, like just doing all this mad shit.
Who else was on it?
Big Nasty was on it.
What's he famous for? Because he's on everything. Like I remember sitting I thought, what's he on? Like, is he a singer
Well, he's
or
a grime
DJ?
rapper. He was a grime rapper initially. Got some good songs out, to be fair. Like he was a grime rapper, really well-known grime rapper. But then because he was just so funny to watch,
you
just fall asleep. You'd be talking to him like this. Just fall asleep.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, them like real massive guys that they just fall asleep. Like,
they're like big animals in the wild, aren't they? You know, like a hippo or something. I've got mates like that, and you're like, you nodding off.
He just nod off. He'd be filming on set, and the producer would be talking to him, and every single time we'd do a take, there'd be a shout from the assistant director. Nasty, are you asleep? just to get him to like wake up before we'd start filming. So that smoked a lot of weed.
Yeah,
everywhere. Brought it with him everywhere. Like, honestly, so proud of it. Couldn't go out. Couldn't do a take without him at least having one blunt before we'd filmed. So maybe that's why he just fallen asleep. He just stoned.
Yeah. Well, eating as well. You know, you still after a big Sunday dinner, you want a nap, don't you? So if you're just doing that every day of your life.
And the bus was hard work because that man would just fart all the time. He stunk. Like, listen,
he looks like he'd have smelly farts.
Nice guy. Yeah, nice guy. Nasty. Like really funny. Really like. We got on quite well. I enjoyed him, man. I enjoyed his presence a lot, and but he fucking stunk, man. That guy could fart the bus down. And when you're driving 4 hours a day on this bus, and Jedward is, oh my god.
Oh, Jedward on there.
Oh, Jedward are on there as well, and they just don't shut up.
They look like some of a horror movie from the 60s, don't they? You know, they just freak you out. Like they're too similar, and
they are. Honestly, I've never seen anything like it. You can just be talking about what bag of flavour crisps you're eating, and they're gone off on a tangent about the world ending and this, and it just half an hour of just you get to a point where you'd been filming all day and you had a 3-hour journey to go on, and you'd just be like, Jedward, please just for 5 minutes stick some headphones in and just give us a minute. Like, and I got on with them, and they love each other, and they're great, and they're actually not that they're decently talented lads. They can both sing, and they've got a cult following of people that love them. They're just fucking bonkers.
What are they doing now? Are they still doing like? I've never heard of them in a while. I can imagine in the end they'll go out with each other.
On TikTok.
I can imagine, you know, it'd be one of them dead weird like Netflix documentaries.
Jump off together.
Yeah, I just feel like they'll marry each other
on a rocking chair,
then kill it. I don't know.
I see them on TikTok in comments and stuff, but no, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know. But bonkers, absolutely. But I couldn't. Got to the point where Roxanne felt quite sorry for them because people had had enough of their shit, just talking all the time, and just they don't shut up, and they are the type that you can be sitting just trying to have a sleep on and they'll just come and sit next to you and want to talk your head off for hours, and you think, I'm trying to be nice, but please, just
sod off.
Somebody else looks like they want to chat, like go elsewhere. When Roxanne used to be quite nice to them, so we used to because you had to sit next to each other with your partner on the bus. Because Roxanne felt sorry for them, would talk to them. I ended up with them quite a lot. So it was an experience coach trip.
Who also was on it? I'm trying to think who.
James, Jordan, and his wife. They were dancers from Strictly.
Yeah,
they were quite nice, decent people. Charlotte was with a guy called Josh, who was like X on the Beach, I think, at the time. I don't watch those shows.
I was going to say that. Like,
I didn't know who he was, but he was an all right lad. He was sound, but I didn't really know who else was on it. They didn't have that much of an impact, did they? Because I can't remember. You changed, didn't you, as well? Like, Big Nasty came later.
I was going to say, because normally, like, halfway through, like, we're throwing a spanner in the works.
We came quite late. We were, like, the last 3 days. So that was hard as well, because all these people had been with each other for weeks. So they were all friends. They all knew each other inside out. And then we turned up, and everyone was a bit like, Roxanne and Charlotte had that fallout. And so I felt like a bit of, like...
outcast.
A little bit, yeah, because they'd been together for all that long. And, like, I made, like, a conscious effort to really get to know everyone and really get on everybody's side. And I knew a couple of the camera crew and stuff from other shows, so I got in quite well. But it was a weird experience, coach trip, but I'd do it again. And Brendan, like, hosting, he is unbelievable.
I like it when you have the old ones on who aren't used to TV and stuff like that. They're not realise cameras going 24/7. They're just horrible to everyone. Like, can you get out my way?
Do you know what? We didn't have anyone like that. Steve the Madman, he's a comedian. He was with Big Nasty as well. He was a funny man. He does like sketches online and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very funny man. But yeah, I can't remember who else was on it. It was.
Do you ever like get them through now and you're like, I'm not doing that, or I'll do that?
No, I want to do more of it.
Right.
To be honest, I think I missed out a lot on stuff like that because I was a kid when it all kicked off.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Because they don't have kids on that kind of like sort of show. I missed out on a lot of it, and then by the time I was ready for that, sort of in my 20s, I wasn't as big as I was back when I was like 14 to 19. So there was that like, I was still relevant. I was still doing TV and things like that, but I've never been drama. You've never seen me falling out of a nightclub at 3 a.m. sniffing coke. I've never been like, I've always just been a man about my life, a man about my family and stuff like that. And I've just always sort of focused on me. I've never really looked for drama, so I never really do things like that because I don't think I appeal to people in that respect.
Well, you'd have to be single as well. About 90% of them are dating shows, aren't it? Love Island and all that sort of thing.
Been asked to do, not Love Island, Celebs Go Dating, been asked to do that several times. And they've even got to the point where they're like, can you not just tell your missus to like let it happen, just for TV.
You might as well, because no one ever goes out with each other. Do you just sit opposite? I don't know. You're going to be a Susan Boyle or someone like that.
I wouldn't. They've asked a few times, and I've always just sort of said no. Because listen, I'm happy. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I've got a wonderful girlfriend. She's amazing. We've been together now 4 years, and she's the one. I'm happy. I've got me dogs and got my car, and I'm content with where I am in life. But I would like to do that sort of stuff. Even stuff like this, sitting down and just talking. I've never done it. Never do it. And I think it's because I don't put myself out there enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even like TikTok, I don't know how you sort of found me that way, but probably because I was liking your stuff and commenting on your pages and things like that. But I don't even really do that. So I've said to myself this year, I'm going to try and get more involved with other people's content and not just my own. You know what I mean? Step outside of my bubble and try and do more podcasts, do more interviews, do more sort of like I've been asked to do a life stories and things like that. But you
need tears for that one though, don't you? That'll be like, what was it? Because all they do is like, what were you like when your dog died? What were you like when your grandma died? Now we'll get tears like that. It's just that constant.
And the thing is, I've had a lot of drama in my life that I've gotten, but I don't like putting my business out there. You know what I mean? I'm at that kind of point where I still want my talent to just be enough. I don't want to have to rely on sort of telling people about your backstory and things that you've gone through in life and all that kind of nonsense. I've never really been about doing that. Like even Britain's Got Talent, man, they try. And when I did Britain's Got Talent, they put me on a bus, right? I remember they put me and my mum on a bus just driving through Warrington Town Centre while they played like Coldplay in the background, and we're just shots of me and my mum looking out the window. Never been on a bus in my life before that. Like never got the bus anywhere. Just a small town boy.
Go past like graffiti and that and all that.
From Warrington with boarded down houses in an estate I don't live in. Like I've never been on a bus in my life, and I don't know, like sob stories and stuff, like just not me. That they even had because the house. I remember at the time we filmed Britain's Got Talent. The house was getting redecorated, and they'd come round to the house to film me dancing. Never danced in the garden in my life, but at the time we had this mirrored wardrobe set that we'd taken out because we were replastering the walls, and they're like, "That's brilliant. That get that mirror, put it outside against the wall in the garden, and that'll be your studio. That's where you're dancing. That's where you've had to train. That wall that you're replastering there, let's use that wall so it looks like you've got no wallpaper when you're filming." All of that, like, unbelievable.
Well, that's how they sell it, though, isn't it? Like, that's how they do the trailers and stuff like that.
They're not asked about you, really.
No, that's what I mean. I do a good sob story. Like, if anyone's going on them shows, I'd be like digging up anyone. Like, my great auntie's died, you beauty. That'll go in, you know what I mean? Like, just get that bit down and stuff like that, and like get a photo of it together, even if it's not real and stuff like that.
Were you inspired by her? Did she sing?
Yeah.
No, she did now.
Sorry, I just.
It is mental.
Take your time. Like that. It's the same like sketch every time, isn't it? And
it's mental.
Simon Cowell making out he doesn't know what's going on. You think, you're producer this.
Yeah, I think nowadays it's scouted anyway. I think most of that, I know it is, but I think most of the people that I watch on Britain's Got Talent, I think, I seen you on TikTok 3 weeks ago doing that same act. Like, I know where they found you.
Yeah.
Even like kids do the funniest thing. See these kids and I think, I saw you doing that on TikTok 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Like, I think there's been a real downfall of genuine people with extraordinary talents that just go and audition for these things.
We don't need it anymore now because of TikTok and stuff too. So they're getting famous before then. Like you say, in comedy, there's a guy that actively goes around the clubs trying to get people to go on it now. And I like you say, I think it's certain acts like Steve Roll can juggle and he does all sorts of. And he's ideal for like Britain's Got Talent, but
shows,
but someone like me, you're just doing jokes. Fucking hell, just die your death. They just have that tumbleweed going across the bottom, going sort your life out.
Yeah, but I keep saying, because I do a lot of pantos. Keep saying I'd love to do the comic part. I'd love to do like comic part things like that, but I just don't. That'd scare the crap out of me. I think trying to be funny must be the scariest thing in the world, because ultimately you don't have to try to be funny, and that's part of it, isn't it? And I think that comic timing, especially on stage in a routine where you're not doing your own material, that'd scare the crap out of me.
I couldn't do panto out like that.
You could. You know what? You could.
Hello, everybody. I just feel like I'm too cheesy on my face and stuff like that.
You'd do one and you'd fall in love with it. You honestly would.
I just want them. I'm too I don't know.
Set in your ways.
Well, I just laugh. I'm terrible at doing this. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like when we do the sketches, like it's normally I can't remember the lines.
Right.
I'm laughing too much and stuff like that. I'm like, because in school, like I do it about my stand-up. I was in all the special classes. It's not a joke. It's not like, oh, he's got a good backstory. Like, I was a spanner. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't read and stuff. Like, look at that writing. I bet you couldn't read that. It's like a doctor's, isn't it?
It's like in the journalist, they set your type. They've got that shorthand.
Well, apparently it's like a tension thing. And like when I used to write in school, I was getting bored by the end of the sentence, so all my sentences would go up.
Mine did that, but I'm left-handed as well, so they'd all like I'd write left-handed and the ink would just be all over the paper.
Did you finish school then?
I didn't finish high school, no. I was 14 when I won the show, and I went back for one day after the final, and they had like this big assembly and they presented me with like this plaque and stuff, and dropped it straight away and broke it right on camera, and that was the one day I did. One day.
What age was that when you left school?
14. So I didn't even finish my GCSEs, which is like, there's no back trade for me. If that's it, if it all goes tits up, that's it. It goes tits up. And 14, I left school the very next day because I was going into the West End. I did the Britain's Got Talent tour directly afterwards, and I was going into the West End like the month after in September. So I didn't even do year 11, didn't do my final year. I had to go to like a private college in London just to sit my GCSEs. And in fact, I think I did all right considering I got a couple of B's and C's. I got an A in English, but I only took 5. You have to take 11 at school, but because you're privately tutored, you don't have to. You can't do things like science, practical exams and things like that. So I did 2 English, maths. I did IT and business because I was like sort of big into computers when I was a kid. And I remember I had a private tutor that used to come around the house every morning, 8 o'clock. And I'd been in shows the night before till 11 o'clock, out signing autographs and doing things till like 1 in the morning. I get to bed. She used to just turn up 8 in the morning. She used to just do my coursework for me.
Yeah.
She'd just do it for me. And she'd like, just tell him to sign here when he's up at 11 o'clock. And like, because she knew I weren't asked about school. Like I was all right. I was good. Maths, I was all right. And I think I linked the dance and the new, like learning routines and learning numbers. I was quite good with numbers. So I was quite good at maths, but I was never going to be anything that school required me to be afterwards. There was nothing that I was going to learn in school that would have made me right for being what I am today and where I've gone.
They put too much emphasis on it, don't they? Like when we were in school, like, don't get GCSEs, you might as well kill yourself. Yeah. It was like that sort of pressure, like, you know them smackheads down there? That's because I didn't have GCSEs. You're like, well, I'm in a special class, I'm going to get like, it was sort of like...
With school, I always believed that school, the system, the way they do it all wrong, getting us to sit in lines, bench. They were teaching us to be factory workers.
To work as the people who created schools, the people that had the factories, because we couldn't get people to work in factories. So it's like, that's why you go at 9 till 3, you only learn 2 hours a day, but we're doing 7, like...
And my way of thinking, like whenever I'm doing stuff now, whether it's editing videos or whatever, I have to have music on. Yeah. I have to have music on. I have to just be in my zone, take a break, go do whatever, go have a cuddle with my dogs for 5 minutes, come back to it. Whereas school, it's like silence, sit, do it all. Like, I couldn't learn like
just
that.
Just bored. Like I used to sit there in class and I'd be like, wonder how they made that fan. Do you reckon that's bolt? Wonder how much it all costs. And then at the end it'd be like, I ask you a question what they'd been talking about. And I thought, I couldn't hear one word. I was just thinking about that. Just anything bar what they were talking about. And some people, like you say, I think if you're a bit more creative, school just doesn't fit at all. It's basically a memory test, isn't it? They give you information. You relay that information back.
Will you get to your exams that day? Will you remember what they taught you 6 months ago?
Yeah.
And for me, I couldn't. My memory's awful. It's awful.
Yeah, my memory's terrible. I've got the GCSEs to back it up. I just want to, like, no GCSEs whatsoever. I remember me and my friend were arguing because he got an apprenticeship and I signed for rugby, so I got an apprenticeship. Right. And we were arguing because he was saying a G's better than an F. Because I got an F and he got a G.
I don't think it is it?
No, that's right. He's got an F to fill. And when G's lower down in the alphabet, and then the teacher come past went, "There's no winners." Like I just said, "Stop this argument, you both."
For the wooden spoon.
Yeah. Just sort yourselves out.
Isn't it mental? Yeah. Well, they had O levels before us, didn't they? I didn't care for GCSEs. No. I wasn't really asked. I was always like, you know what? I know this is what I want in life. I know I want to be a performer. I know that's the angle I'm going to go down. So my GCSEs really aren't that important.
Yeah.
But nowadays, actually, as I've gotten older, I found myself wanting to do more, like learn things. Like I'm learning to speak German at the moment.
But something you want to do, like in school, it was like science and English.
I never cared for German in school, though. Like, I wasn't asked about learning German in school. German for me was just the class that we used to fuck about in because we had a teacher that was soft and we could get away with murder. Yeah. So, but now I'm learning German again. I'm trying to learn to play the guitar. I'm just doing things, and I don't have like some quarter life crisis I'm going through, but just really like wanting to do loads of stuff all at once.
That's what they should do in school, like things that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Go after that and stuff. Like we did French, and I could still be doing French now, and I bet I wouldn't learn anymore. No. I could have been doing for the last 25 years and still be that 1 to 10 numbers and Je m'appelle John. Yeah. And that would be it. That's all I'd be at.
I remember the one phrase from French was, "Est-ce que je peux enlever ma veste, s'il vous plaît, madame?" And that was when it was up, we could take our blazers off in class. And that was it. That's the one thing I remember from French was, "Can I please take my blazer off?" That was it. That was it.
That'll be handy when you go there, won't it?
Yeah, we did songs in German. 2 Hour an Animal, about having cats and dogs in that. That was it. That's all I remember.
Shens and chats. Well, I was saying to Gavin, and they're like, remember when you had to go in that room? And well, in school you had to go in a room and you had to just talk French for like 2 minutes, and they just recorded it.
Sweat my bollocks off.
And like we were in like the fourth set, like that. That's like lower than like a
the spuds. Yeah, that was a spud.
Some of them were like a 1-to-1. So some kids had their own teacher with them who were in that class, and like you had to go in that room, and you just didn't know what to say. Like, "Oh, je m'appelle John," like that, and she's just doing that behind the like recording. You're like, twat, and she's like, "No, put it in a sentence." Like, I don't know any sentence. Like, John, come on, press and stop all the time.
Useless at it, and I think that's maybe why I'm learning it now, because I'm like, actually, I've got a bit of time on my hands.
Yeah.
You know, I've got the sort of, I've done everything. I've done a lot of things in my life that I've wanted to do, and I'm at a point now where I'm like, let's just try something new. Let's just do something a bit fucking out of the box, a bit different. I may not even go to Germany again in my life, but I'm learning to speak German. Don't even know why I picked it. I just went on Duolingo and was like, pick one, anyone, German, that'll do. Close to English, probably easier to learn. I'll go with that.
Right. It's maybe a good spot to visit though, Germany. I've never been. I always look on Ryanair, late deals in Munich, and that sometimes comes. But I think we're in Bratislava instead or something.
I've been to Germany. Yeah, good times. I filmed a film out there. It was nice. I was there for like 6 months. I think that's probably why I did it, because I spent a bit of time there filming, and I sort of knew a little bit from then. So I was like, I'm going to carry on with that.
You could do your dancing in a different country though, because in this country, I think if you walked in some of that's George Sampson off, where in Germany, just say you film, you could hit a dance floor, a nightclub dance floor.
People do Asda in the aisles in Germany.
That's what I mean.
And nobody would think it's weird.
Or drop all the stuff on the floor as if you dropped it and then break into a dance, that sort of thing. And I would honestly, I'd love to be able to dance. Only time I ever dance is when I'm absolutely steaming, and I can't dance anyway, so it makes you worse. So you just, do you know what?
I think that is the reason I don't drink. You know, because I've danced. And people like sort of, you know what it's like when you're up here, you work through the week, you go out at the weekend, you get drunk, you dance. That's it. And if you pull someone, you take them home. Wonderful weekend. But I think for me, I used to find that I had enough self-confidence dancing anyway, that actually when I drank, I had no control over what I was doing.
Well, and because I would start moving and
more that I would try to do backflips and stuff drunk.
Right.
And I'm like on a sticky floor and I'm going to end up hurting myself.
Yeah.
So actually I found that drinking was worse for me, dance-wise. You know, I used to go out and I'd just dance anyway. I didn't need a drink to be confident enough to do it, because it was what I did. And then whenever I used to get drunk, I was susceptible. You know, I'd be like, come and dance, do the dance. I'd have a drink, I'd say, oh, come on then, can't stop me.
Yeah.
And then I just found myself on the floor 3 a.m. outside of NatWest Bank in Warrington Town Centre. But so I never like, just tried to stay in control of myself all the time.
Because you're in the public eye as well, and like people are watching that, and I think you're a bit more self-conscious, aren't you? Like
people think you're a dick.
Yeah, like, it just say like I got drunk in a nightclub, or some people think that's all right. But if George Sampson got drunk somewhere,
who does he
like,
think he is?
Who's that guy?
Why is he dancing?
I knew he'd dance.
He knows he's a better dancer than us. Yeah.
Just waiting all night for you to just do that with your arm. I fucking knew he'd dance.
Bellend. Yeah, of course it is.
Fucking loves himself.
And do you know what the worst thing is? It's hard to say this, but Warrington was the worst for it. My hometown,
small town. We were just talking to Danny before.
How dare he be from Warrington and you know what I mean? Like, and have what I've not got. Who does he think he is? Like, I generally found that, especially when I was younger, all the hate that I got was from my own town. Was from lads my age that were growing up in Warrington. That was where most of the trolling came from back then. That's mental.
I can remember Scott Carson, you know, the England goalkeeper. Yeah. He's from where I live. Dead nice fella, Scott. Great family and stuff like that. And I think he let a goal in for England. And you could, like, on my Facebook, I'd see people like, let that goal in. Like, plays for England. Like, you're laughing at him and you've just done a shit day's work and you're laughing. Like, I found that dead bizarre, like you said, just sort of like, he's doing really well for himself. I don't know how you could possibly look at that as anything other than a positive, but people do, don't they? Like, I think it's British culture as well, isn't it? Like, we sometimes build people up, but we love pulling them down, don't we? It's like Tyson Fury in his last fight. Glad Usyk won. You're like, I wonder what other country are cheering for the other team to win over us.
It is mental, and I've never been like that because I've been involved in it, because I've seen it firsthand and experienced. I've always tried to champion sort of homegrown, wherever it is. I mean, football's hard because it's never coming home, is it? Like, let's be honest, it's just not happening.
Darts need to be an Olympic sport or something like that. Then it'll be. Well, you're from Warrington.
I love the darts. Listen, I love the darts.
Well, Luke Littler's from Warrington.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, love it. I've just bought a dartboard yesterday, actually. Funnily enough, because we do that now. Like, me and the lads, we'll just get online, have a game, set the phone up, have a game of darts, and it's unbelievable. Love it.
I think of the new con.
I love it.
It's so bizarre.
I can't believe how good they are.
Oh, the standard now of darts in the last 10 years. I used to watch it and you'd be like, people cheered like at 180 and stuff like. People are hardly cheering 9 darters now.
That's what I mean. You've got to have a 9 dart, haven't you, to get anything out of people. It is mental. And I love the darts. I mean, I love sports anyway. I've always been like a big sports fan of all sorts. I'm a big United fan. And but the darts, man, just... It's nothing like it.
No.
There's nothing like it.
And you wonder why you love it so much, don't you, when you're watching it? It's one of them where you're watching it and you think, I just can't believe I'm cheering on Luke Littler, who looks like a single dad. Just a 45-year-old or something like that. But you're buzzing off him, aren't you?
I think it just the whole thing just emphasises British culture for me. Darts is like, it's like I heard them talking about trying to take it out to Dubai, like they've done with the boxing. They can't take the dart. It wouldn't work. The darts wouldn't work out there.
The boxing doesn't really work out there apart from the money, does it? It's like silence, the worst atmosphere ever, isn't it? Like,
it is,
singing Sweet Caroline when you're stone cold sober 3 a.m. just doesn't go, does it? You know what I mean? And like,
could you imagine the darts as well? Like, it wouldn't work, would it?
You'd be watching it thinking, I think darts is crap actually, because like there's no atmosphere or anything like that.
It's got to be Ali Pally. It's got to be here. And I tried to get tickets for the Premier League this season.
Costs a fortune.
It's a nightmare. And you couldn't even get them, even if you wanted them. It's like Oasis now.
I was
going to get tickets for Oasis, but I'm like, I said, come Saturday morning, I'm going to have 15 devices trying to get tickets. Nightmare. Can't get tickets for nothing.
Do you not know someone at any of the venues that you could ask?
Probably. I'll try and use and abuse, but it's difficult because everyone wants them. Even the people you're trying to use and abuse to get them, they want them. And so it's hard, isn't it? I tried recently. My missus wanted to go see Taylor Swift. Without paying under $1,000 for a ticket. And like, she didn't want them that bad. Like, she wanted to see Taylor Swift, but I ended up abusing the stream and found someone on stream that had a code for ticket, whatever, to get one. But it was like sat behind the screen. She had a big screen behind her. It's like sat in the gods behind the screen. It was still like 80 quid for the top seat where you couldn't see nothing. I think
I'd rather just watch on YouTube or something. Like, have a few, like, you know what I mean? I'm not one of these, unless I'm near it or stuff like that. I don't really want to be.
No.
Like, I went to watch Blue the other week, and my missus made me go and watch that. And like, honestly, it was pissing down on a Friday. It was a Pride event.
Yeah, no.
And I stood there, umbrella was blowing in and out, and I thought, I can't believe it. Like she didn't drink, so I couldn't drink because she was driving. Honestly, I was just sat there and I thought, I wonder how many guys are here, because honestly, it was like torrential rain. I've said there's about 80 people. It was meant to be sold out, but because of the rain and stuff like that, and I thought, God, I look like a super Blue fan.
Nobody wants to go to concerts. Well, there are a lot of people that do want to go to concerts, but just if it's a one-off big special thing, they'll go. But just trying to put on an everyday sort of show like you used to be able to back in the day, people aren't interested because they know they can just watch it online.
Yeah.
We're all guilty of it. Like you say, you'd rather watch it online. I'm the same. We're all guilty of it.
I just get drunk in the house, starts off with like Upbeat and like Clubland and then Oasis, and then right at the end it's like Johnny Cash and that.
Hey, listen, I love a bit of country, man.
Yeah.
As that's how I know I'm getting old, is my music taste.
Yeah.
You know, when I was little and I was listening to donk music back in the day, and then now it's country music now. 31, loving country music.
Well, it's like Scooter. We were talking about him the other week. He hasn't aged.
Yeah,
He's always looked like a middle-aged lesbian. Like his whole
I saw
time.
a video of him today at Creamfields. He looked older then.
Yeah.
And I was like growing up, certainly like watching Scooter on stage, thinking,
must be
that
60
bloke's in
or
his
50.
50s at least.
Yeah.
He looks like in his 40s now.
Yeah.
And it's been 20 years.
Like that
And
was
he's still
early.
doing it. He's still jumping about the stage.
That was early 90s. That's like 30 years ago nearly.
Yeah.
And you're like, so what was he when we were younger? 25? Like, what was he like a 25-year-old guy?
There's no way. He was in his 50s back then.
Some of his lyrics are Respect to the Man in the Ice Cream Van and all that. So it's absolute gold, isn't it? Like if you sat there and listened, like, what am I actually singing along to you?
I tried to like, part of my stream, I always try and get people on board with sort of what we were on back in the 90s. God, if you tell kids today that hi-fi isn't Wi-Fi misspelled, they've got no idea.
Yeah.
You know, like, and just things like that. And I just think, wow, like, are we that old?
Oh, honestly, I'm ancient these days. I feel like you'll see a film come on, it's like, oh, it's from that year, and you're like, oh my god, oh my god. I was thinking, oh, like a song, like, oh, it's like a classic, and you think, oh, I thought that was quite new, and you're like,
I see on
10 years
TikTok
old.
this song turning 20 years old today, and I think,
Yeah.
that's not even old. I'm sure I was listening to that in like when I was 18, 19, but then think to yourself, that was 13 years ago, George. You're in your 30s now. Yeah. And like, especially to the kids, like, but then to be fair, I remember when I was 13, 14, we'd look at people that were in the 30s and go, okay, now that guy's ancient.
Well, I used to look at people in the 40s like, just die.
That is an artifact.
Do you know that? Fucking stay here. Like, I went to the gym the other day with an MP3 player.
No, an MP3
and the end of it's broke off. And I've had it for years. And I was in the gym on the treadmill and a young lass got on, you know, they have their gayest shorts thing. Yeah. She looked at me like I'd got me dick out. Like, what the fuck is that? Do you know what I mean? Like, she could, like, it's like I brought it from space. You're like, oh, like a manky old taped up
found
MP3.
It in a bottle in the sea.
Just clicking forward. Earphones on, not Bluetooth, like
wired.
To the runner. And you could tell she was just like, oh, what are you doing with your life?
It is mental, isn't it?
You're so old.
Oh, man.
Because I never pictured that when I was younger. Like, you just picture like year ahead. And that, now you're like, when you're like 30s, you're like 40s old. Then you get to 40s, 50s old. And I thought, God, I'm going to do that every decade now. And you're like, I'm going to be dead soon.
It's everything, isn't it? One of my most viral posts on Facebook was because I shared a picture of this toy I used to knock about with and play with when I was a kid. It was like this kindergarten castle. I remember it. It was like this, and it had these little soldiers. And it was like this castle thing, and it used to shoot a ball out of the front, and that was mental for me. And it had a drawbridge that came up and down. I shared a picture. It was Fisher Price, so I don't know, some old school like thing of them little old red cars that you used to get in back in the day.
Yeah.
I think, God, imagine if we had iPads when we were younger. I know kids that are like, I've got like cousins who have got kids that are 3 and 4, working their iPads, like go on this browser, close this tab,
they're bored because they've got an iPad mobile.
Like, but how smart they are on them.
Try playing Hungry Hippos for 4 hours. See how you get on with that. But it was really childline, wasn't it? Like, what? Am I meant to do this for 3 hours?
Yeah, got to get on Snake.
Rat Trap or whatever that mouse trap.
Record on Snake 2.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I Snake on your phone and stuff like that.
The world had changed when you could go through the walls.
Yeah. Used to pay for ringtones and stuff like that. Like, imagine that now. If my phone went off there, you're just like, oh my God.
You remember back in the day where the Crazy Frog would come up on the telly and you'd text like, something to 88888 and you'd get charged 15 quid. But you had the Crazy Frog ringtone. You were the dog's bollocks in school. And if you had a pack of chewing gum, you were the shit.
I had Mission Impossible, and when it used to go off, I'd roll it with my arm, bounce it off there, and I used to flick it out. You know, then Motorola's where you flick out and I go like, you think that's cool as fuck?
No.
Honestly, if I see myself doing that, I'll punch me.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, sort your life out. People can see you. Yeah. This isn't funny.
Yeah,
it's embarrassing.
Well, I mean, even just like I said this to my friend the other day. Do you remember just like knocking on for your mate? Just knocking on the door. Can Tom play out today, please?
I still say that when I knock at people. Can you play out?
Can you come and play
knock
out?
Up people's wives all onto the door. Or if the kids come.
I used to walk like 20 minutes to get to my mate's house and knock on his door just to be devastated for his mum's house. He's not playing out today. He's not finished his dinner.
Set off now. No, like now. Definitely now.
Definitely I'm allowed out to finish my dinner and your mum like, he's not coming out today. He's not finished his dinner.
You get kicked out and you weren't allowed to go home, were you? Like when you're playing out. Like my mum would, it wasn't like, come back at 4. You're like, what if there's no one playing out?
No.
Just wandering streets on my own.
Don't come home till the lights go off.
That's what I mean. You just come back, you're like, fuck, what a day I've had. And paedophile crack though, like you said, we used to like get chesses off them and all sorts and stuff like that. But when you look back, you think that's dangerous, isn't it? Really, trying to get chase off an actual sex offender.
Yeah.
Imagine if kids said that now. I'm going to get it. Like if I told that to my old lad, he'd like, oh, do what you want. Yeah, let's whereas now they'd be like, right, you're in, ringing the police
on the phone. Now tracked, everyone knows where you are, and then you've got to be. But I think it's always been there. Like you say, it's always been there. We just didn't know.
No,
because everyone didn't have the phones out filming it like they do now.
There wasn't people online catching them. Steve,
my For You page.
You thought you were going to meet a 12-year-old, didn't you? I thought you was 9.
My For You page is full of it. I saw one yesterday. They had Akon with one. It was this guy, Vlad, whatever his name is, a big streamer, and he goes around hunting these paedophiles. And he had Akon singing "Locked Up" live, like with this paedophile in his arm, like that, singing "Locked Up" with him. I thought, what the fuck is going on?
The reason they don't run, I didn't realise they've got bouncers.
Yeah.
The 6 fellas, massive fellas. I didn't realise. I talked to one of the lads that do it, a former rugby lad. He went, I help out with I think it was paedophiles of the North or something like that. And he said, I just go along because he said, otherwise I'll run. Because I used to wonder, doing an interview, think, just that, like, if I was in the mind of a nonce, I'd just run off. And I just wondered why they're doing an interview. Like,
you just leg it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You just leg it.
You definitely give the old no comment or like kick yourself thing. But
But the thing is, they've got them, haven't they?
A lot of them are special needs, aren't they? Like,
oh,
that guy with the bald head.
Oh,
you've ruined my day.
You've just been holiday. He's like, is it weird you've got a favourite nonce?
Yeah.
But he is. He's just, every time I hear that clip, I see it, I'm just like.
Well, that lad who did the bouncing for it, he said they caught the same guy in Yorkshire 3 times in a month.
Lock him up.
But some of them are just that far gone. They should be in a unit anyway, shouldn't they? Really, it just feels a bit weird that, like, I don't know.
But they walk amongst us. Like I said, man, they're out there and they walk amongst us everywhere.
Some with your tattoo on the leg. Just short in the summer, George.
Did you think before I came in today that this is where it would be going?
I didn't think we'd be talking about paedophiles. But our podcast always ends up going down that route. I don't know why. I think it's because of the 90s link, isn't it? It always goes through that because we put videos on. But but cheers for coming on, George. It's been great.
This is just like you said. Decent crack, just sitting having a chat in it.
We'll have to do another one with videos.
Yeah. Get me in for a sketch.
That's what I mean.
I'm all over it. I'm absolutely all over it. Like I said, I'm trying to get myself involved in more of it. So whenever, man. Listen,
we'll get your badge as well, bouncers.
Yes.
Get that sorted out. You can be the dance.
Not quite got the size, but
I haven't either. Got
the accent and the tattoos, so we're halfway.
I was going to say, you've got the tats, haven't you?
There you go.
Full sleeve, mate. You see, full sleeve. So you've got 2 full sleeves, haven't you?
No biceps. I'm not got my biceps, so I cover them up halfway.
Anyways, cheers for coming on, George.
Listen, thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot.